Don't put baby in the corner. No, don't put baby in the corner. It's not cool. You want to start, or do you want to start? How do you want to start it?
Man, stress sucks. What is it actually doing to my body?
If you can't tell, we're a bit stressed, and hence why this became the topic for this video, because it's very real. Yeah, okay. So when we think about stress, right? Society, we were talking about it before. I feel like it's a natural thing to just accept it, and our bodies are essentially operating a level of dysfunction,
Yeah.
and that's normal. And it's only when you go on holidays for like 3 or 4 weeks you realize how messed up you are, and you're like, I feel really good and
Yeah.
I feel healthy.
Yeah. So stress is such a big part of my journey that I'm going through at the moment. So talking to the naturopath, she's like, yeah, you got to bring your stress down if you want to lose weight. You've got to bring your stress down so you're less fatigued and all this kind of stuff.
But your weight is stressing you out.
I'm stressing myself out over not being stressed. So explain to me, she speaks about cortisol a lot. What am I looking at?
So if you think about the body and how stress manifests, I guess cortisol is one of the real things that we can measure, like at a physiological level. And cortisol gets a bit of a bad rap because over a period of time, if it's constantly operating at high levels, it can have a dysfunction sort of level, but we also need cortisol to function, like has a healthy function as well.
So my understanding, it's a hormone, right?
Correct, yeah. So it's a hormone that's released from your adrenal glands, and it's released in response to stress, and that can be emotional stress, but it can be physical stresses as well, like exercise. And that can be part of a healthy body. Say for instance, when you go to the gym in the morning, which you love, your body releases cortisol and you get part of this inflammatory response which helps you actually go and build muscle.
Nice.
So cortisol is not all bad, but I think what we've sort of experienced, and I'm sure many of you have experienced as well, is that if like cortisol is great if it's in a short sort of window, you know, you get a response, the body sort of goes back to its homeostasis, it's constantly trying to balance it out. But if you're under pressure or under stress for long periods of time, cortisol's going up.
Yeah.
And yeah, talk us through like some of the experience that you've had with like high levels of cortisol.
Yeah, so high levels of cortisol for me has meant I get my sleep patterns are just like this. Like I really struggle to stay asleep and have quality sleep. But then as a result, I'm gaining weight. So I'm probably one of the fittest I've been in a long time, but my body doesn't believe me, and it chooses to retain the weight, which I know it's not all about looks, but for me it's a feeling as well. So I'm sick of waking up and feeling like I've just closed my eyes, even though I've had my 5-6 hours sleep. It still just feels like
Probably need a bit more than 5-6 hours.
You know, when you have kids, your sleep goes up and down. But when I've had my sleep, I'm waking up fatigued still. So stress for me is linked to fatigue, body image, and just
so the weight typically will be in your face and then
just
your belly, because that's where
tire around the stomach.
the cortisol responds. And the other things as well is like you talk about the fatigue, but it's also your cognition, like the ability to think, that brain fog, which I think that's one of the one that hits me the hardest, is just that you just can't
How long can I claim baby brain when my kids are 6 years old now, right?
I think we're out of that window. And some of the other things as well is you can look at, like I know with myself, we get a lot of like pain with certain injuries and stuff like that. So inflammation, even though cortisol is supposed to decrease inflammation, if it's left in the body at higher levels, it chronically can look at inflammation, it can look at pain, it can look at weakness.
Is that like achy joints and stuff?
Yeah, well, it's typically just pain, right? Because it's just inflammation. So it's just highlighting areas of the body that are already a bit cooked.
Yeah.
And it's causing that additional sort of pain. Just any inflammation from a joint perspective is going to have some downstream negative effects.
Yeah.
So cortisol also has positive effects. It's not all negative, even though it gets a bad name. So what it does do is essentially it uses blood glucose to help manage energy within the body. It also maintains healthy blood pressure, helps with the sleep-wake cycle, so we're getting a good night's sleep and we're not feeling, tired and wired later at night.
Yeah.
And then it also, like I mentioned, has a positive effect on decreasing inflammation as well.
Yeah.
But if it's left too high for long periods of time, it can be detrimental, and that's when we can make some lifestyle changes like we've been working on?
Yes, yep. So some of the easy lifestyle changes that I've really enjoyed putting in place for myself has been, kind of sounds a bit airy-fairy, but it's just, yeah, you know, finding the joy in the small moments. So when I'm on my walk, finding that little flower standing there alone, or finding just the beauty in the everyday that we get to do. It's such a simple thing, but when you're looking for it, it gives you that little dopamine hit every time you hit it. Or something we've actively done with our children since they've been very young is before they go to bed, it's what's one thing you're grateful for? What's one thing that happened today that made you smile? So ending the day with that positive feeling is such a big one for me. And then another one is, let me think, another one would be big bit of my stress comes from that juggle of being a full-time working parent and juggling household and life and finding that division. So I find that journaling everything I've got to do. So before I leave work, I'll journal all those little things down so they're out of my brain. So by the time I come home, I can be present with my family. So that idea of journaling, it could look completely different for everyone, but for me, it's just getting every little bit of information out of my head so I can go, yep, put that in a box and I'll deal with that tomorrow. So they're probably 3 things that I've really loved, and I guess finding your me time, finding that what's me. So for me, I think I've spoken about it in earlier videos, is getting up in the morning and taking my dog for a walk. It's that little piece in the morning that is solely for me and focus only on me before I can fill my cup so I can fill everyone else's through the day. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think some of the big ones are anything that downregulates the body, right? So anything that activates the parasympathetic. So I've been trying to do, most nights I do my 10 minutes of breathing. I'll do that in front of the red light. So just stacking those sort of positive things. The Wim Hof breathing, any sort of stuff like that, like ice bath, and even the ice bath boosts your cortisol, but anything that makes you feel good.
Cortisol's still positive, right?
Yeah, no, I know. And we actually looked up some of the benefits of like lifestyle changes you can make through the Cleveland Clinic, and the one that really stood out to me was laughter, or doing, like you said, fun, but actually laughing itself, you get the release of endorphins. So there's a positive effect there on the body, and I find just good social connections, like one of the other things they mentioned was maintaining healthy relationships.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I think as from a support mechanism of being around people that you make you feel good about yourself, but they looked at it more from a negative perspective, that having unhealthy or unstable relationships can be a constant cause of stress, you know? So I think having like a rock better
like those
relationship.
toxic workplaces that you can get stuck in those cycles.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, that stress and everything like that. If you've got the flexibility to cut out toxic people, why not?
Surround yourself with good people, and then the one that's probably key to me would be just to move your body. So whether that's, you know, it's, like you said, it could be gym like what you're doing, it could be running, walking, or it could be something that's really fun like surfing or jiu-jitsu, you know, something that's like hobby, you're doing it with mates as well, like you're sort of stacking some of those positive things on top of each other.
Yeah. I think just while we're here as well, another big one is looking at, we've spoken a lot about light, so
I forgot that.
Yeah, so making sure that out of a nighttime, you are helping your body to know that it's nighttime. So making sure you're not sitting under fluorescent lights, making sure if you've got the ability to watch that sunrise go down, so you're giving all
sunset
go down. That
sunrise is important too, though.
You know, see, just so you're getting your body into the right cycles, you're helping support it to bring its cortisol down. Because, I mean, our skin's an organ, right? So we watch it go down, we tell it it's nighttime, but we sit under bright fluorescent lights. So just all those little things that you can do to help regulate your body that way is another big one.
Morning light is probably, like sleep, I would think would be one of the most important things you can do. If you can improve your sleep, it'll have a massive effect across all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
So if you are struggling with, high cortisol, bit of stress. First thing you do when you wake up is go and not stare at the sun, but as it's rising, you can get like a bit of light into your eyes, and there's actually little receptors in the bottoms of your retina. So what that do is you actually want to spike your cortisol first thing in the morning. That's actually a positive. You want to have a morning spike, and then you want it to actually start pittering off through the day.
Yeah.
Looking at the light first thing in the morning will activate that, and it almost sets like a bit of a timer.
It does,
From memory, it's like, I think it's 14 hours from when you first see that light. That will then trigger, 12 or 14, don't quote me on that, but it will then trigger melatonin release.
Yeah.
So after that cortisol is basically winding off for the day, it'll start releasing melatonin. So as Kat mentioned, not looking at bright lights, staying off your phone and stuff like that once it gets dark, or using blue light blockers.
Yeah, so in
That
our
will
house
save
we use
your sleep so
and
much.
in our house we use like salt lamps and stuff over night time. So it's a softer light. If we have to put a light on, it'll be the salt lamp.
Yeah, we did try to keep the bright lights off.
Yeah.
But
Just little things. Hopefully you can find a little thing in all those ideas that you can implement today to help bring your cortisol down, and
pick one.
pick one. Yep, you don't have to do them all. We've gradually added ours in over time, but these
We're
are
still
just
shit at it. We're still.
we try.
We are
Well, it's just
learning. I've got my
different-
old plates for this. hey.
100%,
Old
and
plates
just
on.
different stages of the life will bring different areas. But they're the few for me that have really stuck. I mean, I've tried a lot and had big expectations for a lot, but these are the ones that I've been able to maintain for a good year or so now.
No, I feel like what we're doing, is working. Just keep stacking on top of it. So
Yeah,
awesome.
love it.
See you guys.
De-stress, guys.